Thanks for calling the Beards and Sundries hotline. You've reached Anthony. Leave a message after the beep.
Hey, Beardos. So this is Colby from Ohio, just calling in saying hi because, again, I listened to your episode and you're bitching and you need more people to call in. So here we are. But I'm calling particularly in reference to the choking the chicken. So first off, I got to give props where props are due. That was a very hilarious strand of comments from you two. And Anthony, I'm not going to add anything to that, but just know there are many more where that came from. But I wanted to tell a story about the choking the chicken. So I used to teach high school agriculture, and so part of that was animal science. I had about 40 animals in my classroom at any given time. For 2 years, one of those animals was a chicken, a showgirl chicken, which they are amazing. I will text a picture to Joe and Anthony after this. And so that you can see, beautiful, just hanging out in my classroom. Well, one day it swallowed a mealworm incorrectly, and it started choking. And so there is a chicken in my classroom literally choking. And so I have, of course, a group of seniors snickering all about it in the back corner. Oh, haha, the chicken is choking. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to have to deal with this later with my administration, whatever. About 20 minutes after that class ends, I get a very precious email from a freshman that said, Mr. Gregg, I just wanted to let you know that they were probably joking about masturbation because choking the chicken is a masturbation joke. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. And I was like, that is so precious that you thought I didn't know that. Meanwhile, I was at the front of the classroom trying not to laugh every time they said the chicken is choking. So that's great. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. Better than Anthony's old car. Okay, bye.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back for Season 2, Episode 23 of Beards and Sundries.
The podcast rated 5 balls out of 6.
23 and us. That's right, guys. It is finally time for another lunch break here at Beards and Sundries, the shop where 3 gay men with beards do inventory on a new sundry in each episode.
My name is Jay, and I know how to check my oil. Anthony?
All right, podcast over. Jay wins.
I'm Anthony, and did Jay's Chevy Cavalier really deserve glamour shots?
Oh my god, no.
I know there's a senior photo out there somewhere.
No, surprisingly no.
And I'm Joe, and Jay is helping me level up in Grand Theft Auto Online. Come play with us. And today's topic is Cars Part 2. That's right, Beardos. We had so much fun with this topic last week that we've had decided to devote another week to it. This time, we're going to take a trip down memory lane to remember our family's cars, all the cars we've owned up to this point, and luckily, you guys have really chimed in with some fun car stories too. Later on, we have some really fun Beardo-submitted sundries. I have something fun to check out this week. And for game time, I have a fun homebrewed game that is even better than the one Jay made last week.
Not hard to do.
Amen.
Hey, Anthony, can we find any motor oil in the sundries aisle?
That's right, Joe. You can, because I left it all there. And that's right, guys. If you're just wondering what the hell a sundry is, the term comes from an Old English word meaning odds and ends.
Oh.
Today, it's used...
Where's it used mainly?
Today, it's used mainly in fucking grocery stores.
Okay, so what are grocery stores part of? Which industry?
Today, it's used mainly in retail
Uh-huh.
to categorize,
Group together.
to group together things that don't have a group of their own.
So, as three very revved up gay men with beards, we are using the term to group together the wide range of topics that we cover.
Wow, you guys really fumbled through that. Good job.
Joe, you never told me how hard that is.
It's fun, isn't it?
I should probably stop checking out during that portion of the podcast.
You should just let me take the wheel.
I like how it's been a year and I could never recite that because I'm just like, huh? Usually I'm responding during a text during that time and I'm like,
Well, before we speed away into our topic, we should probably address that voicemail.
Yes. Thank you, Colby, for listening to instructions.
Yeah, seriously.
At least somebody did.
At least someone got our subliminal messages last week. It was very subtle. I'm surprised you guys caught it.
They were tucked in and I wasn't sure if anybody was going to figure it out, but...
Just like Jay in his first drag queen performance, it was really tucked in there.
Well, it's easy to tuck when you only have one, so...
I was going to say, now it's so easy for him.
Now, like, there's nothing I'm even doing. I'm just like, what am I tucking?
His duct tape lasts twice as long now.
Now, because it's so much less work, I started using painter's tape because it's just a little less brutal.
What?
Blue, of course. And then I take my underwear off and I'm like, look. And everyone's like, huh.
And everyone's like, ooh, Papa Smurf Daddy.
Is that a blue ball? And I'm like, no, it's painter's tape.
They're like, Daddy Smurf, Daddy Smurf,
Hey, weren't we supposed to be talking about Colby's voicemail?
Cars. Oh, yeah, the voicemail that we got this week. Yay!
Yeah, something choking chicken. It was cute. I loved it.
Yeah, no wonder nobody wants to leave us voicemails when we address them like this.
Hey!
Hey, I literally received a message this week that said that they love our side tangents, so...
See? Well, say no more.
The message doesn't count if it's from yourself.
Oh, I didn't say it this time. Yeah, this was an actual real person that listens to the show that's not me.
Hey, thank you, Colby, for leaving us a voicemail. We really appreciate it. And listeners, if you'd like to leave a voicemail of your own, that number is 405-999-2242. Leave us a message.
Yeah, please. We want to hear it.
But we can't play one unless you leave one.
All right, let's move on to Cars 2. Do not eat the pistachio ice cream. It has turned.
I will say, good sequel. Okay, so Cars 2.0 this week. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Looks like Jay wanted to talk about his first subject matter, electric cars.
Oh, yeah. So I just was kind of thinking up ideas of things to discuss. And because we loved last week's episode so much that we kind of wanted to extend it into this week. And electric cars was kind of something that we dwelled on a little bit more after the episode. And so I was kind of curious, like, what's your perspective currently on having electric cars?
I'll start with something that I had started thinking about recently that's kind of interesting, and it mainly stems from the new Hummer truck, the new 9,000-pound electric vehicle, which is where safety is starting to become a concern. I've seen that the NHTSA recently had to test their equipment to see that it would stand up to these giant vehicles with their crash test, because they've never really tested consumer vehicles that are this heavy, which is really troubling because I've driven a small car before, or like imagine you're driving a smart car and you get plowed into by a 9,000-pound electric Hummer truck. I mean, that's it. It's curtains. So it's a little bit concerning to think about the weight of all these batteries in the vehicles, and sure, they can go really fast, but can they stop fast enough?
So the message here is buy the Hummer. You'll always be on top of everyone.
Right. That's actually kind of what I'm thinking now.
That's what they've been advertising since the first Ford Explorer.
And it's good for the environment.
And it can crab walk.
Out of my way, nature.
I'm going sideways.
On purpose. I paid $100,000 to go sideways.
So that's my problem, is I spent $45,000 on a car, and I feel like compared to what you're getting nowadays, that's almost a cheap car anymore because everything's so fucking expensive.
My Hyundai was like $36,000, and I feel like I'm way at the top of my price range.
Yeah, like I don't want to go higher than what I'm spending, but the next car I'm gonna have to if I want any luxuries.
The MSRP for the 2023 GMC Hummer EV starts at $100,395 for the base level trim.
Whoa. God damn.
Guys, I'm poor.
6 figures for an American-made vehicle is bonkers.
And why are they catching up with what I paid for my house just 7 years ago? I didn't buy a house in 1975. I bought a house in 2015.
I fear we're at a point in our economy where you're going to see that with cars from now on. The prices jumped during the pandemic for semi-legitimate reasons, and now they're just going to continue to rise. Have you seen that they have implemented 90-month loan terms?
Yes.
Yeah.
And our wages are not catching up with this increase.
Not even close.
It's out of control.
I looked at vehicle purchasing with excellent credit after we had that conversation. Minimum on a Toyota Corolla Cross, because that was the car that Joe had mentioned in the last episode about us getting potentially as a single car for ourselves, 9% interest on excellent credit.
On excellent credit. You know how many people in this country have excellent credit? How can you get excellent credit? You can't fucking start.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Because you're always docked for something.
Right. To get you to keep spending.
Do you guys want to make this episode about capitalism?
No.
I didn't know, because I wanted to be fun.
We're already walking the tightrope. I saw a used 2003 GMC Sonoma pickup truck, the little tiny baby pickup truck, for $7,000. That truck is 20 years old.
Yesterday, one of my friends told me that he's tempted to buy this guy's BMW because it's older. And he's like, I could just get rid of my vehicle and it would, I could probably get it for $12,000. It's in great shape.
Now.
And I was like, my only problem is I know people that have had BMWs.
Maintenance.
Us. We didn't have time to, besides totaling it, we didn't have time to bring it in for maintenance except one oil change. And I'm like, all of my friends have seemed to have some sort of wild maintenance issues with theirs. And I'm scared to get an older one.
It's this weird kind of trend that I've seen with aging German vehicles in recent years is that they have to go to the shop a lot.
It's like a sensor messes up, which fucks up everything.
A lot of them are going to the shop a lot more often now, and it's probably the computers or planned obsolescence, which is probably more the case, but they're just always in the shop, and it's always expensive.
I learned about carburetors for a reason, and I'm probably going to go buy an old truck with a carburetor on it still and just drive it. I'll get Anthony's fan out of his shitty car.
Well, be prepared to pay $7,000 if you want a 2003 GMC Sonoma.
I'll lay down my heated pad, and I'll have all the amenities I want. I'll sing to myself, and it'll be CarPlay.
I'll diddle myself, and it'll be CarPlay.
Wireless.
Speaking of CarPlay, Anthony, when's the last time we've CarPlayed?
Oh, I don't know. It's been a long time.
Couple years, I think.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been forever for me. I don't remember the last time I've ever played in a car.
We were driving home from somewhere, and Anthony gave me roadhead on the interstate.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, I'm a good husband.
It was very a la Scary Movie 1, but I didn't run anybody over.
What was that noise? Nothing.
Very hyper aware of my safety when my head is in somebody's crotch going, 75 miles an hour.
Please don't wreck.
So that's quite the side tangent off of my take on electric cars. What do you guys think?
So I'm turning into one of those people that, I want to keep what I have now because I would like it for road trips. But I'm to the point where I think I'd be happy to have an electric car that I drive around town. That all I have to do is have it on my charger at home. I'm not going to need to use superchargers around the city or the state. And you just don't have the maintenance costs you have now on oil changes and all of this engine work and fluids you have to do.
That's why those little ones make sense, like the little city cars, that are built like the size of like a Honda Civic or like a Volkswagen Beetle, or even smaller like a Mini Cooper or a smart car. That's why those make sense, especially people who live in the city or have a short commute. That's why those vehicles make sense for them. They're not for everybody, and everyone acts like everyone's trying to make electric cars the only car on the road right now, right as soon as possible, where it's just simply not the case.
Technology will grow. Calm the hell down. Right now, we're getting electric vehicles that work for the people that need them or that can use them.
Exactly.
And so they're not forcing you to get rid of. But that's what happens is every time government's trying to push something new, people jump to the wildest conclusions. And they're like, they're trying to make us do this. And I'm like, shut up. Calm down. I mean, think about it whenever they passed the laws of wearing seatbelts and not drinking and driving, and how angry people got that they were told to do that. And I'm like, get over it.
Yeah, I've seen some of the old ads from those campaigns about seatbelts, and they kind of had up the ante a little bit with them and get a little bit of shock factor to get people to actually listen.
But I actually looked at electric cars this week in just the topic of what would I buy. And I told my coworker that I was talking with that I really like the new electric Mustang GT GE or whatever it is.
Mach-E.
And Mach-E, that's what it is. And $65,000 starting. They're
so expensive.
Controversial opinion coming from me. I don't like those cars that much.
That's fine.
And maybe I'm wrong about it, but I sat in one at the Tulsa Auto Show. I didn't care for it. Yeah.
Really?
It just wasn't what I was expecting.
That's true. The interior looks like they mounted an iPad to just the dash randomly.
It's lazy Tesla following.
We have a couple of friends in Minneapolis who purchased one recently. So I don't know, maybe if we take a ride in one of theirs, or take a ride in theirs, not one of theirs, just the one they have, I'll change my mind about it. But just sitting in it, I just didn't feel any sort of I didn't feel enamored with it.
Well, and another problem is the extravagant price point negates the fact that you're not spending money on gas, because you're spending upwards of $40,000 to $50,000 more to just get the damn car.
Because now I have a $1,250 a month car payment on just an electric car to be basic.
Like the Ford F-150 Lightning is super cool looking, and I would love to have the opportunity to get into a truck in general from being down here in Oklahoma. And it's electric. It's got a front trunk that's got a lot of storage and everything. $70,000.
One of my friends has one on order.
If they ever see it, they'll be lucky.
That's what the problem is it's been a very long delay, and I think he's been debating on canceling it and getting something else.
We had a friend who had an ID4 on order for so long and eventually canceled it and got, what did he get?
He got a Nissan Frontier instead.
That's what it was, yes.
So I was like, different direction, but go off, sis. I like it. He likes it a lot, so it's working well for him.
Cars have definitely been, within the past, since COVID, has been just a wild journey, because I remember buying my Highlander in 21 and just not having the power I used to have, where you could screw down the price really low and all this stuff. And I fought to get them $1,500 down, and I had to force them to move up my trade-in value, because I'm like, listen, you want to sell this, but I know that you have more power because you just got this on the lot today, and you're selling cars within 24 hours.
Oh, I had the same experience back in December before last, getting my current vehicle, my Hyundai Tucson. They had 5 cars on the lot, and all the doors and trunk were open. And I was like, what are you guys doing? Are you airing them out? And he said, no, we're trying to make them look bigger because the lot was so empty. And they had all this pre-owned inventory over here. That lot was full, but they just had nothing new.
Oh, yeah.
They tried to sell me this fucking dealer options, pinstriping, clear coat protection. And I was just like, it's just such bullshit, but they can do it because of this perceived demand. I finally got the terms that I wanted, and I got the car away from them. They tried to lowball me on my trade, and I knew they were going to sell it to one of the dealer's girlfriends the next week. So that was a whole other thing, but whatever. It's done. I have my car. Yeah. But we digress. Electric cars. My final verdict on them is I think they're great. I think they're good for the people that need them and want them. I just wish that they were a little bit more regulated in terms of safety. And I wish that they were more accessible for the general public because they are just so out of reach.
I also want to see a smidge more distance on the batteries. If you're getting a nice one that has quite a bit of power, you are not getting an amazing distance now. And I feel like you could do better. But, you know, it's the same concept as gas mileage.
Gas mileage. It's leveled off at 25 and it's been there ever since.
Yeah. My car, if I'm driving highway, does fantastic. But I currently, you know, I have a 6-cylinder on my SUV. And with my driving, I average 21.7 according to the car. But for a third row SUV, I'm not doing bad that drives in the city on a regular basis.
Well, to get away from electric vehicles, let's go to some decidedly not electric vehicles. What did you guys have in your families growing up?
We had this super ugly silver, might have been an 88 or 90. I think it was a Chrysler minivan of some sort. Hideous thing. I'm pretty sure it was given to us, and there was no radio in it. So it was just a hole in the dash with a wire hanging out.
No.
Oh my God.
That fucker. Gross, ugly car looking back. But we had a lot of drives in that car with no music.
What'd you guys sing?
I don't remember. I really don't remember what we did.
Some say love.
I was always a giant Hot Wheels fan, and I would beg my family to let me out of my seat. Well, sorry, to let me unbuckle, because who am I kidding? I was 4 and did not have any sort of car seat. And so I would want to lay on the floor because there was so much room if it was pushed up against the side of the wall of the van instead of across. And I wanted to lay there so bad and just play with my Hot Wheel cars. But weirdly, my parents said no.
If they had known you were going to be gay, do you think they would have said yes?
I think if they would know who I am now, they'd be like, yeah, sure, go climb down there.
They'd be like, play on the hood.
They're like opening the side door and they're like, hang out, hun.
They're driving up the chat piles. Here, come on. Here's your stop.
Dragging you through them.
Lord.
Maybe not. Maybe not. They might be proud of me now, but...
So what'd they have after that van?
At one point, we had an older Ford Taurus. And I think it was gray. Oh, God. So we also lived so far in the middle of nowhere that the trash truck wouldn't drive down to our property. We were maybe a quarter or a half mile down this gravel road.
So how'd you get to school?
We would... Oh. The bus did not come to our house.
I can tell.
We had to drive to meet the bus every day. It was terrible. But we drove 17 miles to meet the bus every day.
You sounds like you grew up in West Virginia.
So we chose a school that we were not in district for. The school we were in district for had really, well, according to my parents, had a really bad reputation. I couldn't tell you if they did or not. But the school we went to was...
Well, I trust their opinion for sure.
Was out of our district, and...
there was a homosexual there.
They wouldn't approve them to drive and pick us up. So we had to drive to meet the bus every day.
So you guys used at least 2 gallons of gas a day on meeting the bus.
Minimum. And we had that Ford Taurus that... Sorry, I was going back to this story. We had that Ford Taurus, and we had to take our trash up to the road. And I remember one time my dad somehow put it in the trunk of the car to carry it up there. After fishing, he skinned the fish, put it in the trash can, and it had gained maggots. They managed to get in the back of his car.
Ew.
And then for weeks, the car smelled terrible. And
Ew.
Oh my God. Like, we were white trash growing up, and it just makes me go, oh.
Now say, I'm white trash and I'm in trouble.
I'm white trash and this is Jersey Shore. No, I'm kidding.
It's funny that you should mention a Ford Taurus, though, because one of the earliest vehicles I remember my family having was a 1994 blue Taurus SHO.
Ooh, super high output.
Yeah. Dual overhead cams.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So that was a really cool car. So we shared that, except my version was the less white trashy version. Don't get me wrong. We were white trash, We just a different kind of white trash.
The SHO was like the sporty sedan that had the stick shift.
I was like, it was the totally desirable one at the time.
Yep. It was the 24 valve dual overhead cams. It had it was a cool car.
Because I'm pretty sure that's what Tim Allen drove in the Santa Claus.
Yes, in the Santa Claus. He had a black one.
I just Googled it just for fun, and my favorite thing is the title of it is the real star of the Santa Claus is a Ford Taurus SHO. After my parents divorced, because they divorced while Dad had that, he took that car, he managed to flood it, and then went through several cars.
What was his obsession with getting fish in that car?
I don't know. Well, so he moved to Wichita and started dating someone that she lived on a street that flooded all the time. And if he listens to this, Dad, you're dumb. I know you don't listen to this, but if you randomly do, you're kind of dumb because your stories about flooding vehicles was dumb.
Why don't you go on down to the pond since you want to be a silly goose?
He would too. He'd bring his car straight into it.
Yeah, yes. He'd be like, here, we're going to go fishing and drive into a lake. I swear. For being a teacher, I'm like, I don't understand you. But they'd be driving down this flooded road, and then he's like, well, we were going to turn, so I merged into the right lane. I'm like, it's flooded. So they flooded multiple cars that way. And, I mean, he said that one of his cars flooded once.
Multiple cars?
3.
What point do you learn the lesson?
If I were insurance, I'd be like, done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh, my God. This is amazing. So it was a Ford Taurus. It was that old gray Ford Taurus. And then they had that. He had some ugly white Chrysler car. I don't remember what it was. Then after that, they had one of those champagne-colored squircle Tauruses. I always call them squircle because they're very bubbly.
Yeah, the circles. It was like a 96.
Yeah, but they were always like, they. I don't get the car, but yeah. They had one of those that also flooded.
That was a weird time for cars, though. Rounded edges were all the rage.
All the rage. That one they flooded right in front of a firehouse, and then the fire truck came out to go deal with something else, and it just basically put a wave of water over their car.
I thought you were going to say the fire truck flooded, too.
Oh, my God.
I was imagining you were going to say, they put the hose into the car and just turned it on full blast and just flooded the car.
Hey, dummies.
Get it all the way, boys.
Good God. We had some Oldsmobile, 1996 or something Oldsmobile that my sister, was, I think her first time driving on ice or something, rolled it.
Rolled it?
I was unbuckled in the back seat sleeping.
Did that wake you up?
It did.
Oh, okay.
That woke me up. And then we had a maroon Corsica at some point, and then we had a 97 Chevy Cavalier after that. That became my sister's first car. And then when my mom married my stepdad, he had a plethora of cars, trucks for work and classic cars and driving around cars. So we had a 5-car garage and shit like that. So that's when it turned into this massive list of cars we had.
I used to always think that people with a lot of cars must have a lot of money, and I don't know why I equated the two, because now I look back and I'm like, a lot of people with a lot of cars who live in the country just have a lot of fucking cars.
Yeah.
They just acquired them.
And they only owe on one of them.
Yep, they only ever owe on one.
One of them has a payment. Every one of them is paid off or something. It's so funny to me.
And that one is the everyday driver, and all the other cars, they're going to get around to repairing that one thing that's wrong with it.
Or you had an everyday driver. The one you're paying on is your going to town vehicle.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
We had that. You would go to events in that. And then he had 2 classic cars. He had a work truck. He had a truck for pulling trailers. I mean, there was just this. Everything had its journey, and they all had names. Brownie, Whitey, Big Red, Dooley Red.
Are you sure it just wasn't plain racism?
Are you sure they just weren't talking about you?
The
Dooley Red.
Big Red. And I'm like, hey! It's funny looking back at... Well, actually, I remember in 2003 when my stepdad bought a new 2003 Chevy dually truck of some sort to haul his trailers with. Still has that truck today. Still runs.
My grandma had up until last year, this farm truck that we called Old Red, that was...
She doesn't have it anymore?
Old Red finally died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she bit the dust. Finally, they had to get a new, baling truck.
Well, it's funny you talk about your family, Anthony. What were some of your vehicles while you were growing up?
So the earliest one I remember us having was a Chevy conversion van that was white and pink. And it had the nice little faux crushed velour,
the lights in the ceiling?
On the inside. Yeah. And the TV that had the little audio video hookup and a fold-out back seat that turned into a queen-size bed. A little ladder.
Is this the same van that...
Yeah, that's the van.
Yep,
that's the one.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's the one. Yep.
Gotcha.
Then we had the Taurus, SHO. And then in between that, I think we went straight from that SHO to my parents. Once my sister and I had our own cars, my parents decided that they no longer needed a family vehicle. So they got a Pontiac Grand Prix GTP coupe.
Great car.
In black. Oh, it was such a cool car. Had a heads-up display, way ahead of its time.
Remember what year that was?
1999.
Nice.
If I recall right, I almost bought one of those.
It was very unfortunate because I wrecked that car. It wasn't my fault. I was on my way home from the fair with a friend and I had borrowed the car. We crested a hill and then came back down. And as soon as my headlights came down, because it was nighttime, they landed directly on a deer. And I slammed the brakes, but I wasn't fast enough. And we slid into the deer. Unfortunately, we hit the deer. And just as we hit the deer, I sort of stopped. I guess the deer blocked momentum enough. And the front end of the car popped up because the front brakes were engaged. And the deer flew up in the air.
Like a pancake.
And then landed directly in front of the car. Thank God not on the car and on us because there was a sunroof and it was open. And I was so fucking scared. And I was white knuckled on the steering wheel. And then I will be goddamned if right as soon as I started calming down, that deer stood the fuck up and ran away.
Growing up in the country, though, makes me super aware of deer. And I don't really like driving in the country at night because of it now. So
I was still pretty aware of deer, and I was only going 55 on a 45, granted. So I wasn't going incredibly fast. It just is one of those spaces where unless it was bright enough outside beforehand for you to see, there was no way you were going to see. So, and the deer ran towards me because it was technically on the left side of the road.
So it's insurance fraud.
What is this, the Philippines? The deer comes running out, it just falls on your car, and you're backing up, and it's like...
It's filming you with its phone out.
I can't remember what my parents got after that. I think they may have gotten a Lincoln Mark 8.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
With the airbag suspension?
That's the one.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fancy, right?
So your parents were big into American luxury sporty. Nice.
We were big into whatever we could achieve that was cheap.
Yeah, that was their... Well, so we were a single car household, and that was one of my dad's outlets, was to get himself a nice car so that he would have a nice vehicle, and he and my mom shared it.
Another car that just popped in my head is we had some old Dodge, which was just a single cab, so it sat 3. And of course, we were a family of 4, and we drove it everywhere. And so I sat on Mom's lap all the time, and we got pulled over in town. And I remember vividly the entire drive back, my dad was bitching about how they're trying to control us.
Boo.
And so it just made me think of our Dodge thing where it's like, were your parents trying to kill you? And I'm like, well, we did have that Dodge truck.
So real quick, 2 additions I will make. I lived with my great-grandparents for about 1.5 years when I was growing up for various reasons. My great-grandmother owned an Oldsmobile Toronado.
Whoa. Those are sporty.
That was her car. And my grandfather had an old, early 80s Dodge Ram that was, red and white. super classic and cool. We lived in the middle of the country outside of Cleveland, Oklahoma, in a trailer. I, at the ripe age of 3, wrecked that truck.
What?
Because he left me in it while it was running to go run inside somewhere. And apparently I used the handle to put it into drive, and it just drove through a fence.
Joe, so basically what we're learning is Anthony started this habit very young.
Hey, okay, so hold that thought because I've got a story from when I was a young wee lad as well.
Well, that's the last honorary mention I have, so you go right ahead.
Okay, so I think I've got years correct, but Mom, feel free to buzz in if I'm wrong. So I don't really remember this car, but it was our family car when I was born, and I believe it was a 1986, and it was a Nissan Stanza wagon. Now, the Stanza was Nissan's popular sedan, but the Stanza wagon was kind of like a four-wheel drive, sort of earlier version minivan, and it had dual sliding doors, which was the main reason that they got it, because we had a single car garage, and my mom was able to park the van in the garage and also open the back doors and get us kids out of it. So we had that when we were first growing up, and at the time my dad had a, I want to say, mid-'80s Chevy C10 pickup truck, single cab, and it was blue, and it had this giant, I want to say it was like a swan or like an eagle, like in flight hood ornament. And my mom told me the story of how they stopped because they saw this truck at a dealership, and the dealer came out and he was like, "I'm sorry about the hood ornament. We can take it off. I know it's ugly." And she was like, "No, that's why we stopped. That's why we want the truck." So they had that. I remember that as we were growing up as a little kid too. Then in 91, Isuzu unveiled their brand new Trooper redesign. It was a big family car meant to kind of take on the Ford Explorer. So it was Isuzu's kind of entry into the market. So we got a 92 base model Isuzu Trooper stick shift, and that became my mom's daily driver. I remember she was good at driving stick, but she hated this transmission because Isuzu put this clutch spring on the vehicle to make it so the ratio between the clutch disengaging and the gas pedal being engaged was shortened, and it was to help improve emissions and improve fuel economy, where really it just made it easier to stall. So she stalled the car pretty often in traffic, and she would get so mad. I used to remember this. She'd get so mad at this fucking car.
Well, I would too.
But we had it all the way through high school, and then we sold it to our Mercedes mechanic from last week's episode. He used it as a vehicle around his acres, and he would drive his dogs around in it, and it kind of stayed in the extended family, if you will. And then my sister bought it from him for a while, and she used it for a while, and then we sold it back to him, and then I think that was its final resting place. So then in early high school, I want to say I was a sophomore, my mom upped her car game and found a Mercedes-Benz ML320. A 98, the very first year it came out. It was the first SUV Mercedes built and sold to the consumer market, and it was the first Mercedes built in the U.S. It was built in Alabama.
Oh, I remember those.
And she had it. It was gorgeous. I loved that car. It was fun to ride around in. I learned to drive that car. I drove it around a little bit. My dad at this time had a 1995 Dodge Ram 1500 that he had bought brand new in 94. Drove that thing to death. I mean, when he got rid of it finally, I think the only original panel left was the driver's side door, because at one point he wrapped it around a tree on some ice, and it just everything had been replaced on it. And then I think in college, my dad got rid of the Ram and got I want to say it was like an 03 Ford F-150 long bed red pickup truck. He wasn't really a fan of it, that I remember. I borrowed it a couple times for moving things around, and I liked driving it. I thought it was kind of fun to drive around, but I just remember him not liking it pretty much the whole time he had it. So then when my mom's Mercedes finally kind of kicked the bucket, it was kind of time to move on from that. She got into an 08 Mercury Milan, which at the time was, It was like the upgraded middle of the road between the Lincoln and the Ford Fusion. So she had that for a while, and it was all-wheel drive because we were in West Virginia, so she had that. And then she gave it to my sister, and my sister drove it for a while, and now she has her other car. Then my dad got rid of the Ford F-150 and got into an '07 silver Toyota Tacoma stick shift that he had up until I left West Virginia in 2010. And that's pretty much it. Then they moved to Florida. They got rid of their other car. My mom got a Miata that she drove around for a while. My dad got a newer Tacoma. And then they got rid of the Miata because it got kind of hard to drive the stick shift around every day. So now they have a Mazda CX-9 Signature that my mom loves a lot. So that's her daily driver.
It's so funny that you talked about the Mercury, because for some reason my brain, anytime I think of Mercury, I always think of, because it was in the movie The Coneheads, that 1992 Mercury Mabel. Or Sable. Mercury Sable.
I was like, Mabel? What the fuck is that?
I know, I was like, Mabel doesn't sound right. And it's because it had that headlight that lit up clear across the whole grill.
The giant light bar, yeah.
Wasn't the Sable very akin to a Taurus at the time?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Ford had the Taurus, Mercury had the Sable.
And then they had Lincoln. So it's the same concept as Chevy, Buick, Cadillac. So they always had like their lower, middle, higher class. And it's funny that Mercury suffered kind of the same experiences like Pontiac and all, where during the '08 recession, they got kicked out. But I don't know why. I always think of that giant ass headlight on the front of the car.
Well, and then to kind of bring it back to Anthony's story about going rogue, having his own GTA experience when he was 3 years old. When I was 4 years old, I believe, my dad was driving me home in the Trooper, and it was a stick shift, and we had a manual garage door at the time on our house, and West Virginia is the mountain state for a reason. Right across the street from our house was a sheer drop hill like this. So Dad parked the car in the driveway, got out to open the garage door, and I guess he forgot to engage the parking brake because 4-year-old Joe in his car seat in the Trooper started to slowly roll back in the driveway. I think I remember it correctly, but Dad saw it, started sprinting towards the car, almost got in the driver's seat, but not quite. And the Trooper went across the road and down the hill, and luckily got caught in a bay of pine trees about 10 feet down the hill. Or else,
Good God,
I would have gone down this sheer drop into 2 streets below our street.
Oh, you're doing fine.
Into someone's living room. But no, there were trees there, thank goodness.
When I was a kid, my mom, she also had this old, it was probably an 84, 82, something like that, Ford F-250, something of that sort. Had dual gas tanks, worst gas mileage ever. Huge clunky truck. But she drove that a lot and would let me and my sister sit on her lap and steer. I was a huge fan, because we lived in the middle of nowhere, and I was a huge fan of the 101 Dalmatians. And I'll never forget the last time I did this, and I'm sitting on her lap, and we're just coasting along, and I pulled a Corella DeVille, and I'm like,
This was last week.
Yeah, Mom was letting me sit on her lap last week. Oh, yeah. And then I got in trouble and never got to do it again.
What?
So now I drive like that as an adult.
Oh, I know. Stock boy, is it time for commercial?
And now for a word from our sponsor, the Chadvrolet Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition.
Are you a weak-minded individual trying to fight wokeism?
Freedom of speech and thought matters, especially when it is speech and thought with which we disagree. The moment the majority decides to destroy people for engaging in thought and dislike, thought crime becomes a reality.
Do you seem to have no real intelligence, but a strong sense of gaslighting?
In short, I don't root against President Obama because I hate America. I root against President Obama because I hate his vision for America.
Then Chadvrolet hears you. Chadvrolet recognizes the red states with lower education standards that keeps their citizens uneducated. So, if any man comes on TV and says something that sounds intelligent, then you think he's smart. So, come on down to Chadvrolet, July 1st, to buy your brand new Chadvrolet Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition, loaded with unnecessary filler buttons that have no meaning but look nice. And when you push the horn, it filters through long, drawn-out Ben Shapiro quotes. So you can actively fight wokeism at 70 miles per hour on a city road because you're a selfish jackass with no regard to people around you. Beep beep.
The Constitution designed the separation of church and state to prevent people from imposing their particular religions on others, not to stop people from allowing their religious beliefs to influence their views on public policy.
See? Nobody actually cares, but you seem to think people do. If you pre-order today, you'll get a selection of stickers to choose from that say, "Don't tread on me," or "We the people," so you can quote them regularly without truly understanding what any of them mean. So come finance the new Chadvrolet Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition today. We won't even give you an APR or price on this commercial because you already are in love with the idea and are going to ignore the other details. Thanks, GOP. You've really outdone yourself this time with stupidity.
Well, it may be Pride Month, but once again, Chadvrolet has been accused of excluding the heterosexual community, so we've come up with the perfect car for them. If you want to keep your eyes on the open road without being too woke like those damn libtards, look no further than the Chadvrolet Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition. Your wife will be drier than the Sahara Desert, and the kids will have fun with the included Mad Libs, which will provide hours of entertainment while you tackle what's ahead. Except for NASCAR races, of course. You see, the Ben Shapiro Edition can tackle certain weather with ease. It's always aiming to take out those snowflakes. But be careful when it rains, because the Ben Shapiro Edition can't handle anything wet. Unless you go to the rainforest, which couldn't possibly be on fire because it's a rainforest. Yes, Ben Shapiro has said this. So, enjoy the road ahead, and leave those left turns in the dust. Yeehaw! Chadvrolet Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition will never race in NASCAR because the cars only turn left.
It's June again, and we don't know about you, but we're tired of the fascist left daring to exist outside their homes. We're tired of companies virtue signaling to all these gay-mo-sexuals. We're tired of seeing rainbows slapped over regular versions of something and corporations calling it the Rainbow Edition. That's why at Chadvrolet, we're getting back to our masculine roots with the most masculine person we can think of, Ben Shapiro. That's right, the Chadvrolet Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition is the car made for all you real alpha males out there. We know your wife can't get wet because it's not biologically possible, despite what women and scientists say, so we installed self-lubricating seats. Worried that even though you're definitely above average height and average penis size, you won't be able to make it into the Straight Arrow's ultra-lifted design? Well, don't worry. We installed the stepladder with rungs that are totally the normal width apart. That's right, they're not shortened at all, so those are real big boy steps you're making. So buy the Chadvrolet Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition today, because no one has ever made fun of a man in a lifted vehicle. We promise.
Hey guys, make sure you follow and subscribe to our podcast so you can receive a notification every Sunday when a new episode drops.
Finally, a truck for me, you guys. You don't have to oil up the Ben Shapiro Edition. It runs dry.
Sorry, that was slow for me. I got it.
Oof. Yikes.
Finally, the car for me, because I argued at the dealership for hours and still lost, and now I owe twice as much. Because he's really good at arguing.
I'm also so glad that it comes with a step ladder, that the steps are 3 inches apart for each one, so that I can finally climb up into the truck.
What I love about it is it fits me perfectly because it's half the man that... No, I'm kidding.
You can have a real ball with this truck.
I'm so glad they finally built a truck with a child seat built into the driver's seat so that I can fit.
Good God.
I'm so glad they finally built a truck that lubricates the passenger seat so a girl can finally get wet around me.
I love how you stuttered through the sentence about girls getting lubricated.
I had a moment. Sorry.
So that the girl and her boobs felt like a bag of sand. Or what do you call them, Max? Yabos?
Babos? Yabos?
Now, that's a throwback, Jay. You made the same mistake again months later. Babos.
I, for some reason, every time I'm like Babos, then I'm like, no, it's Yabos. See, I don't talk enough about boobs to remember what they are.
That damn Chadvrolet and all those Babos.
Thanks, Chadvrolet, for giving us the Straight Arrow Ben Shapiro Edition.
Now for the low price of your dignity.
Does anybody have something to check out?
I do. Well, Beardos, for this week, another car-oriented episode, I have something for us to check out. It is an automotive program called Motor Week. Now, Motor Week has been around since October 15th, 1981, with the same host, John Davis, the entire time. It still airs regularly on pretty much online now, but it is also still on PBS and MAV TV, which is Maryland Public Television. So it has been on the air ever since its inception, and they do basically reviews on just everyday cars. They do road tests. They put the cars through their paces. They do 0 to 60. They do braking distances, emergency maneuvers. In their earlier seasons, they were also doing things like maintenance tips, shopping trends, new tools, new products coming out for cars. But, it's just a great way to kind of check out just regular car reviews. And that's kind of, as a gearhead, that's kind of something nerdy that I like to do a lot. They have a fun section on their YouTube channel called Retro Review, where they'll put up old road tests from like anywhere from the beginning of the series up until just a few years ago. And it'll just be older road tests. It's kind of interesting to see their take and how it's kind of aged since then. And it's kind of fun. So if you are a car fan like I am, just check out Motor Week. It's pretty fun watching and just fun to have on the background sometimes.
That reminds me, did you guys ever watch BBC Top Gear?
I've watched some of it, yes.
I was such a huge fucking fan of that show.
It's a cool show, too. The crazy antics they do on that show. Like the one where they drove through the supermarket. They were trying to like get through with the little tiny car, and he goes through it sideways at the end.
There's like one where they had to build their own campers out of cars that they chose. And that one was hilarious. A lot of times they'd have to drive across several countries in Europe in old cars that they spent $2,000 on.
Yeah, or like old SUVs or old wagons. It was always fun to watch those too.
I loved that show. I didn't like the American one as much, and it's probably, I don't know, just, it was too American. British humor is funny to me.
So, Jay, how's our inbox this week? Do we have any Beardo-submitted sundries?
We've got a few things. I actually posted a picture of my car today, and it was one of our posts about our first cars. And, of course, it was my glamour shot of Chrissy, my little Chevy Cavalier.
Those angles, though, she was serving face.
My sister commented, and she goes, that was also a car I had, and it lasted clear until the end. And she's like, a duct tape shifter and all survived.
Was it pink duct tape?
I wonder. I should ask. Derek emailed us, and he said he really enjoyed our podcast last week. But his first car was a 1990 Oldsmobile Cutlass Calais. I always forget.
I think Calais is right.
That seems right.
Either Calais or Calais.
Yeah. I'm always like, is the S silent or not? Anyways, it's actually going to be posted. It's being posted after we record this, but as the day this releases, it'll already be posted. But
luxury. Extravagance.
But he talked about how he currently has 3 cars, a 23 Mini Cooper, a 22 Honda Ridgeline, and his parents' Acura TL that he inherited. And his dream car was a BMW M8. And then he added on a little thing that said, also decided to send a Twitter photo of the Savannah Bananas umpire for you men.
Oh my God. Don't ask me what color nothing is. This is like one of those tricks where you're like, what color is the light switch? And I'm like, what light switch?
His nipple?
That's even better than I could have imagined.
I'll send that to you guys separately, but
Yeah, please do. You got the pantsless version of it?
no, that's all he sent, but maybe you can Google it.
Where's the banana?
Where's his Savannah banana?
You know what? I respect it. Thank you for doing that for us, umpire guy.
I rate that 6 out of 6 balls.
Thanks, Derek.
Jesus. Thank you, Derek, for blessing us with that.
Our beardo Jared said his dream car was an El Camino.
Ooh, yes, girl.
So my friend and listener Shanae commented that she had a memory show up the day that this post was done, and it was like just had
I've been looking forward to this.
And what's funny is I was like, I don't remember this at all. But what ended up happening was we were going to a Bruno Mars concert in Tulsa. We stopped for gas somewhere and all the pumps were broken. And so we were like driving around in circles because I think I was almost out of gas trying to find a gas pump that worked.
In the Cavalier? Or wait, 2014? Was this the Honda Element or your Cadillac?
That would have been my Honda Accord.
Okay.
I think 2014 would have been my Honda Accord, I believe, because I bought my Cadillac CTS in 2015. Anyways, yeah, so I had to ask her because I was like, I don't remember what happened. We had so many things that happened over time. On that trip, though, she made fun of me a lot because I overpacked so much. I packed like 5 different bags for an overnight trip. But
Shanae, things have not changed.
Not according to my trip to Denver a couple weeks ago. I did it all in carry-on. Heather commented and said she hates road trips over 4 hours, but
Hi, Heather.
she loves the old band and dance trips because it was spent with good friends.
Those were always a good time. Now, quick side tangent on that. When I went to WVU, this was between 2006 and 2010. This was when West Virginia was still in the Big East Conference, meaning we played teams like Connecticut, Syracuse, Cincinnati. So a lot of our away trips included stops in like Niagara Falls, New York City. Churchill Downs was an away trip once. So we got to go on some really, really cool college band trips. So that was always a fun time too. And they were never really that far away. And then on the other side, Heather, I'll tell you that moving to Oklahoma and being near Texas has kind of changed my outlook on the 4-hour thing, because I think 4 hours, that's Dallas. That's easy. That's a day trip.
Yeah.
Where then back then 4 hours is like you could transgress like 4 states in the Northeast. You can literally drive 9 hours and still be in Texas, starting in Texas.
The longest I can drive from here in the state of Oklahoma from our house is 7 hours and 40 minutes. That would take me to Black Mesa, Oklahoma, which is the state line.
Yeah.
Around 8-ish hours, I could drive from our house and still be in the state of Oklahoma.
One size perspective photo I like to show people a lot. It's an image of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, and you can place the image state outline of Connecticut over it, and the state of Connecticut is smaller than the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. Yeah, for all of you friends that are around our area of the country and realize how big these states are, the Northeast states are very much smaller than the ones here.
Anyways, Joe, do you have a game for us today?
I do. I believe it's game time, you guys. And kind of continuing on Jay's game last week, this week's game is called Name That Slogan. So this week, I have also picked 17 items. This week, I have gathered 17 automotive slogans, and it's up to you guys to guess which company they are for.
Okay. I'm really bad at these two.
As I was compiling this list, I was like, wow, there is not a lot of creativity in the automotive world. And a lot of them use the same words to describe their product. So some of these might come easily to you guys, and a few of them might be head scratchers. So whenever you guys are ready, let's go ahead and go.
Sure, let's do it.
Yep, might as well.
Number 1, The Power of Dreams. You get 3 guesses for each one.
Ford.
No.
Chevy.
No.
It's not Mazda, right?
It is not Mazda.
Nissan?
Nope. Jay, you have 2 more guesses.
Hyundai.
No.
Kia.
Nope. That is the slogan for Honda.
Oh, I hate myself because I almost said that and then I went to Hyundai.
All right. Number 2, find new roads.
Oh, that's Chevy.
That is Chevrolet. Very good, Jay.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. America's asking you to call. Sorry.
Okay. Number 3, beauty is not enough.
BMW?
No.
Mercedes?
Nope.
Hookers?
No. Not hookers.
Is it Jaguar?
No.
I've seen... What is that? Is it Alfa Romeo?
It is Alfa Romeo.
I literally just looked at their brand the other day about something, so I think that's why it popped in my head.
Very good. All right. Number 4, the art of performance.
BMW?
No.
Mercedes?
No.
It's not... Is it Jaguar?
It is Jaguar.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. Number 5, since Anthony's having so much fun. Number 5, for life.
Mazda?
No.
Please say it's Mitsubishi.
It is not Ford. It's not Mitsubishi.
I feel like I know this one. It's kind of driving me nuts.
Think safety.
Volvo.
It's Volvo, yes. Okay. This one might make you laugh. It made me laugh. Number 6, American luxury. What a luxury car should be.
Oh God, is it not? It's not Cadillac, is it?
It's not Cadillac.
Lincoln?
It is Lincoln. Very good, Anthony. I read that and I said, no, it really shouldn't be, but okay.
I was like, I don't see Lincoln that way.
No. All right, number 7, movement that inspires.
Mazda?
No.
Damn it.
Nissan?
No.
Kia?
Yes!
Good job.
It
Yeah,
is
that's right.
Kia.
Yeah. Slowly getting back to being involved in this game. I'm going to turn Angry Birds off now.
Oh my God. All right. Number 8, Das Auto.
Volkswagen.
It is Volkswagen. Very good, Jay. This one's a little tricky, and it kind of got me. It's relatively new. Number 9, Adventurous Spirit.
Do you mean new slogan or new car?
We'll say slogan.
Jeep?
Dodge?
No and no.
Land Rover?
No.
Is it Mini Cooper?
It is not Mini Cooper.
Subaru?
No. I didn't include Subaru because I think they still have the one that includes their name.
Oh.
Love, it's what makes Subaru Subaru.
I don't know. Did I already say Mazda?
Not for this one, but no, it's not.
Okay.
You guys said Dodge and Jeep, so no. You didn't.
Chrysler?
So, no, it's not Mazda. It's not Chrysler. Anthony, was that all your guesses?
Oh, yeah, it was all of mine. Yeah, for sure.
So as of December 2022, that is the new slogan for Ford.
What the fuck?
I said the same thing. Yeah, they're trying to apparently Europeanize, or they're trying to streamline their entire line, I guess.
But that switched from Go Further, right?
I think that was Go Further, yeah.
Because it was built Ford Tough and then Go Further, and now it's...
Adventurous
Okay.
Spirit.
Wow.
All right, number 10. Let's go places.
Subaru. No, wait.
It's not Subaru.
God, I hate this. I don't watch commercials anymore because I don't
This
pay
one
for
actually
these channels.
sounds familiar to me, and I
Is
don't
it
know
Jeep?
why.
It's not Jeep.
Oh, it's Toyota! It's Toyota! It's Toyota!
That was a really loud keyboard clacking, Jay. But yes, Jay, it's Toyota.
No, sorry, I was responding to a text message.
I was hoping you would get that one, Jay, considering what you drive.
You were responding to a text message in the middle of the game we're playing, in the middle of the podcast we're recording,
Yes,
where you were clearly going to win. You're so checked out.
I'm answering a business question that's not related to my big job.
I'm glad you got that one, Jay, considering what's in your garage right now.
I know, I was sitting there and I'm like, why does this sound so fucking familiar? And it's because it's all over the wall at the dealership when I'm waiting for an oil change.
Alrighty. Moving right along here. Number 11. The best or nothing.
Mercedes.
That is Mercedes. Okay. So that's 11 down. The current scores are Jay with 7, Anthony with 2, and me at 2.
Wait, I'm winning a game.
You are winning a game.
I mean, I could still fuck it up. I'm really good at this.
With that, number 12. New thinking, new possibilities.
Oh, what is this one?
Smart car.
No,
Tesla.
it is not Tesla.
Okay, I was like, it's not Tesla, I don't think, but it sounds...
Say it one more time.
New thinking, new possibilities.
Infinity?
No.
Genesis.
Close.
Hyundai.
It is Hyundai. And I have to give it to Anthony because he pronounced it right.
That's fine.
We're going Wheel of Fortune rules on this one. Lucky number 13. The spirit of American style.
Is that Cadillac?
It is not Cadillac.
It's not Buick, right?
It is Buick, actually.
Oh, okay.
But you said it's not, so I can't count. I'm just kidding.
It is Buick, actually.
It is. Buick, actually.
I was like, I know that's a GM slogan for a luxury car, but I couldn't remember.
Number 14. Legends aren't born, they're made.
Legends of the Hidden Temple, the car.
Dodge.
It's not Dodge.
Is it the first? Is it what I said?
Jeep.
It is Jeep. Very good, Jay.
Oh, okay. So it's not what I said.
It's not, in fact, what you said, Anthony.
Well, after I said Dodge, I was like, wait, Jeep Legend.
So, number 15. Precision crafted performance.
BMW.
Nope, not BMW.
Mercedes. Oh, I already said that one. It's not that though, right?
It's not.
Is that Cadillac?
That is not Cadillac.
Lexus?
No,
Mazda.
it is not Mazda.
Okay. I don't know. I know the slogan, but I don't know where it's from.
Something German, probably.
I know what it is now.
I'm sure you do because you looked it up on the internet.
Oh, I did for sure, and I wouldn't have guessed it.
I don't know. If I know Dodge.
It is not Dodge. Was that your third guess?
That was my last one, yeah.
Well, that is the slogan for Acura.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of these are kind of lazy, huh?
Yeah, they all seem lazy.
All right. 2 left. Number 16, Vorsprung durch Technik,
Well, it's German.
which translates to lead by technology.
Bentley?
BMW.
It is not BMW. It is not Bentley.
Is it the Koenigsegg?
No, it is not Koenigsegg.
Smart car?
Not smart car.
Tesla?
No,
Oh, okay.
Ferrari?
not
No.
Ferrari.
Porsche. No, that's same thing.
That is the slogan for Audi.
Oh.
I forgot that Audi existed.
I forget about them, even though I look at their cars a lot.
I know. I didn't even know I never even think of them having a slogan, but whatever.
I don't know their slogan. I don't know anything about them.
All right. One last one. Number 17, our final slogan is leading through legacy.
Cadillac.
No,
Mitsubishi, because that seems like a slogan they would use for some weird
it
reason.
is not Mitsubishi. Fuck it, I'll give you a hint. It is not American.
Fuck. Bentley.
Not Bentley.
Porsche.
Nope, it is not Porsche.
I really don't know. We already did Mercedes, right? BMW.
Nope, it is not BMW.
I already know that BMW is a sheer driving pleasure.
I don't know any of these.
Leading through legacy is the slogan for Tata Motors.
Nice.
That's great because I only guessed 2 guesses, so my guess is Tata Motors.
I thought you had 3.
Nope.
You said Bentley and BMW. Was that your only 2?
That was my only 2.
Wow, Joe. Wow. You should probably give Anthony 2 points for that.
I sure will.
Oh, shut up. Don't take pity on me because I'm all checked out and grumpy. Jay did this, and he was just funnier about it.
Jay checks out, and he's way cooler.
That leaves our final score at me with 4, Anthony with 4, and Jay with 9, making Jay
Wow.
this week's winner.
Oh my God, guys. I just want to thank the Academy and my mom and dad for doing it.
Well,
and,
Beardos, I think I hear the music coming back.
Woohoo! Oh, yeah!
Oh boy, it is time to go.
That's right, Beardos. I think I hear the music coming back on. But go call our hotline real quick and leave us a voicemail. That number is 405-999-2242.
And as usual, you've let us take you on a real trip and made sure to let us stop for snacks. If you want to help us out, go and subscribe to our podcast so you can get reminders every Sunday when we release a new episode. We also post frequent updates on our social media for any additional sundries that we add to the market.
And don't forget to rate us 5 stars and leave a review. We'd love to hear from you, and those ratings are what get us found by more listeners. Just each one of you recommending us to one friend would double our growth, and we'd appreciate it if you could help us grow by doing that one small thing.
And race your little finger on your phone to our TikTok, to our Instagram, to our Facebook, and to our Twitter, and comment your little hearts out and tell us everything you think about our episodes. And also, if you go to Apple Podcasts, you can write a review and we will read that review out. So please do that. You can also email us anytime, anything you want to say at beardsandsundries@gmail.com.
So, as you get into your car after leaving the Beards and Sundries Market, make sure to
Love yourself.
Because we already love you.
Bye. Beep beep.